Welcome, Miss Karianne. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just came back from the dentist and it wasn't too painful and didn't take too long.
Clean and
So
fresh.
I'm clean and fresh. I refreshed the lip gloss because all of that came off. So and lip gloss is important.
It is.
So
You gotta be clean,
I gotta be shiny.
right?
So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
I
you for
really
having
appreciate it. Yes, I went and was like, you know what? I saw you for the first time in person at
me.
SquadUp. We got to finally see each other. We've been connected through the connectors Zooms with Shane and Jesse,
Right.
and we finally got to meet at SquadUp. And so I reached out and I was like, okay, I want to see if you'll be on my podcast and share your 3 goals with me. And you were so kind to say yes. But before we get there, I want to start off by getting a little bit of your background. Like, how did you get into real estate?
So I was selling a house in Utah about a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we were moving across the country. My husband had become disabled after getting COVID.
Mm,
So we found out neurological
mm,
disabilities like he has are better at sea level.
mm.
So I had to sell a brand new custom home. And when it came down to it, we were getting offers, we were getting showings, we were getting all the things,
Yeah.
and yet something would always happen. So, and all your realtor can do is two things: drop the price or do another open house. And I was like, there's got to be more. So I started looking into other avenues. I found creative finance. I
Mm,
started listening to Pace. Um, that was probably almost 2 years ago now. So I listened to him for a year. We stayed a little longer in Utah, and then once we moved to Tampa 6 months ago, I joined Sub Two. I've been doing that full time ever since. So I kind of got thrown into, you have 6 kids to raise and a disabled husband, so you better get it done. So I capital raise. I'm a capital investment partner, and I'm a connector.
love it. Wow. So it was out of necessity, right? You had this great home, your home. It wasn't even like you were trying to find other
No.
opportunities. You were just trying to sell your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and
What did
it's
you end up doing with
really,
your house then? Did
you
you stay
know,
with the agent?
so my agent was amazing. He
Okay.
was my neighbor. He said, I'll sell it for free. I just want to help you guys
Oh.
out. But I actually talked to Pace about it, and he said, you have so much equity in this house. Like, it's $1 million home.
Mm-hmm.
Drop in an extra 50 because you need that money to live on.
Yeah.
So I did. So
Wow.
I didn't sell it creatively. I sold it traditionally.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. And but it got us where we needed to be, got
Yeah.
me very interested in the community after that. The fact that I was able to get attention or time from Pace to even look at my situation, because it was pretty
Right.
desperate. So
Wow.
where I was just like, you know what, I want to be part of something, not just in real estate to support my family, but just something bigger, a community, and
Yeah.
something with people I can work with and build something with.
Right, right. Yeah, it says a lot that you have that Pace can be so accessible, right? And it's not like where he was like, "Well, you need to join my mentorship and then I'll talk to you,"
Right.
right?
No,
People
we
will
have
do
no.
that. People will do that. I mean, I thought the same exact thing before I even joined Sub 2. I was trying to, I was looking at properties and I had already been going to the local real estate investors association meetings and stuff and trying to look for properties and I remember pulling one out, sharing it with Pace, and he answered, and it was just like, wow, oh my gosh, he answered me.
That
And he
guy.
was, yeah, and he directed me in the right direction, and I got more support, and it was like I wasn't even a part of the community, and I was talking to Pace and one of the leaders, and so that said a lot. That was like, okay, I want to be a part of that.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Huge difference. Yes. Okay. So we know how you got into real estate.
Right.
Now we fast forward and we have these three goals that we had to come to at the end of the SquadUp Summit. And I'm meeting with everybody I met with to see what the three goals are. And so I'm wondering, what is your first goal?
My first goal, so the way I like to do goals is I like, especially with the three, I love like short term, midterm, long term.
Okay.
Because easier to organize. I like organization. And also there's certain things that we want in the long term, but we've got to get those short term goals there first. And so
Yes.
they kind of feed into one another, which is what I like.
Okay.
So short term goals was I had approximately 200 people I had met through Zooms online in connection calls. You were one. I mean, I had a list where it's like, definitely got to meet these top 50, got to meet these people, and just kind of sorted them. It sounds terrible. I sorted them like Harry Potter. I sorted them.
Put the hat on.
Right. Stephanie. We're just like, these are people I could work with because they have things I don't.
Yeah.
These are people who are in the asset class I'm looking at getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And then so on. And then just like, these are super cool people. I don't know how we'd work together, but I want to meet them.
Yeah.
So my short-term goal was I want to connect with, and I had picked like these top 20 where we have talked about partnering together, what that looks like, because there's just a vibe for me.
Yeah.
I can meet you on 20 Zooms, but when I can get in a room with you and give you a hug and just feel your energy and everything, that's huge for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of like nice people. Everyone in Sub 2 is nice.
Yeah.
But there's people I've thought about working with, and they're just so mellow. And they're like, just chill. It's cool. Like, that's not my energy. I love you. That's not my energy. I need more of this. And so I wanted to, that was my short-term goal. Who are these people? And are they the people I'm going to be partnering with or teaming up with? And there were some that I met and I'm like, hey, you're different than I thought. I could still see working with you, but maybe not in a partnership.
Yeah.
So just getting, and then I, as a planner, I had dinner reservations every night that I booked 3 weeks in advance.
Wow.
At different restaurants.
Nice.
Because I wanted the availability to then take the people I met that I wanted to partner with. Let's go to dinner. Let's have a deeper discussion. If I didn't use it, fine. But if I did, great. And I did most nights.
Yeah.
And we were then able to go and have a smaller, more intimate conversation about what we're going to do together and how that looks. So that was my short-term goal for the week. My midterm goal is then I've set up, because it's been a month, phone calls every single week with 3 of these different teams that I went out to dinner with. And then I also really wanted the Women's Trailblazers group that Katie Langford has founded. I knew about it. I had been in it. And I said to her, we had a Zoom call and I'm like, hey, do you want to share my Airbnb? So she did. And I never thought of myself as like, hey, I can really help you grow this.
Yeah.
But we spent 4 days together and many hours just, I can do this. I'm good at this. This is your strength. I don't have that, but we could use it to do this. And really looked at how we can expand that for women in the community and for women all across real estate. There's so many different avenues for us.
Yeah.
It's neglected to where and to get to the end and be like, out of all those speakers and all that time, there were 2 women on stage.
Yeah.
We need more of that. And
Yeah.
how do we get women to the forefront of investing, of speaking, and just doing more than a supporting role? Because
Yeah.
there are a lot of women, which I think is amazing. They're supporting their spouse or supporting their team, but they're in the background.
Yeah.
And which is fine. Some women, I know some who love it.
Yeah.
That's not where I can be. I'm
Yeah.
not a background kind of girl. I'm not a background kind of girl. I'm
I
just
get
not.
it. Right.
Um, and also, we have a ton of ideas. We have a ton of skills. How do we put those at the forefront?
Yes.
So I was able to meet her and able to now, I mean, we are planning and scheduling and having meetings to where we're figuring out ways to grow this and
Nice.
what that looks like in the future. So then that kind of morphed my long-term goal, because my long-term goal was, let's decide what kind of asset class I'm going to be part of.
Okay.
Because as a capital investment partner and raising capital for people, do I want to be raising 40 or 60,000 and having, 5% of that? It's fine.
Yeah.
But if I have someone bringing me a multifamily and I'm bringing them
Yeah.
$1 million, I want a bigger piece of that. I'm
Yes.
giving you the availability to purchase this property. I
Yeah.
want minimum 25%.
Yeah.
And so just opportunities I had never thought of before. I met a woman who said, "Hey, I have a boutique hotel. I'm going to look at selling it in the next year and a half." I have another friend who says, "I have
Mm.
15 years in hospitality. I would love a hotel." And in my head,
Mhm.
it's like, "Did you know you wanted a hotel? No. Do you want a hotel now? Yes." And so now that's kind of in play.
Yeah.
So there were a ton of things that I explored, that I discovered, that I didn't even really know were part of kind of my path to where I wanted to go. And now that I've found these connections and these other team members and partners and women, it's completely changed.
All
So
right.
those are my 3 goals.
Okay.
Um, and then in the month since, um, with the Trailblazers group, we are setting up and doing a retreat. We're looking at Puerto Rico or Mexico.
Ooh.
Stephanie said,
Mm. I have talked about going to Puerto Rico for I don't know how long. So
"You're going with me.
I
You're going
I
with me."
sign me up.
Yeah,
Let's do
yeah.
this. I love it.
And we wanna have an experience where it's like, let's go do a food and history tour. Let's do yoga on the beach. Let's have a couple speakers from other than Sub 2, other than Gator, because we wanna bring this community is not just for all, we want it to be for all the women.
Right.
Like, let's
Yes.
give them all the opportunity to grow so that we don't just own 31% of
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
31% of real estate investors are women. That's not enough.
No.
So
More.
let's be more. Let's be more.
Yes.
Let's go
I
to Puerto
love
Rico
it.
and be more.
I
So
love it.
I have, I'm doing weekly phone calls, accountability with the teams I met.
Okay.
We're structuring partnerships
Mhm.
and looking at being a capital investment partner for a couple other wholesalers, acquisition people who I found outside of Sub 2. I don't really,
Oh.
not totally sure. Um, just
Mm.
referred to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
And we just have to have the, I guess, bravery or ability to say, okay, all right, this is what you want. I will, if it's put in front of me, I will try.
Yeah. Okay, so you've fine-tuned your goals over the last 30 some odd days as you've met people. You've discovered some new things that you're like, okay, wait a minute, I am open to that. do you think that that's more of the shiny object syndrome, or it really does fit your long-term goals?
At first, I was just like, this sounds fun. And then I started
Okay.
looking into it.
Okay.
Um, because the people I was meeting were
Mhm.
so finely attuned. And then we start talking about it. And 3 hours later, we're discussing how we would get the community involved and how we decorate our boutique hotel and how we would want this kind of service and how we're going to provide value to
Yes.
the community and how we're going to market 3 hours later.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's also one of those things if someone said, "Would you like this?" It just sounds silly to me. You know, when someone's like, "Why don't you just buy a hotel?" I mean, sure. Call me Marriott. I'll just buy a hotel. Like that's how I think of it. You don't say like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I just started real estate 6 months ago and yeah, I've raised over $500,000 in the last 2 months. But you know, maybe I'll just buy a hotel." Cuz once again, it sounds a little silly at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then and the power of community and connection is then you have people who are like, I mean, of course that could be your goal and you'll easily accomplish it. Don't you have something higher?
Mhm.
And then
So
I'm like,
true.
because that should scare me. If they always say, like, if your goal doesn't kind of scare you, you should probably go higher.
Yeah.
And not a lot scares me. So
Ooh.
I don't scare easy.
All right.
I had 6 kids in 6 years. You can't scare me easy. I mean,
Yes.
I've done
There
this
is,
stuff.
yes.
I just moved
Mhm.
across the country with 6 kids and a disabled husband
Yeah.
and no backup.
Yeah.
If I can do that, I can certainly buy a hotel.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. It reminds me when you said, it needs to scare you a little bit. It reminds me of a couple of things. One, Good to Great. They talk about the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. Yeah, so if you haven't read that, check that out. I know companies that they pick a BHAG every year. This is
it's
what
a
our
terrible
BHAG.
acronym. Like, it's
I
not
know it's
cute at all.
horrible.
It's a terrible acronym.
Horrible acronym, but
Yeah.
it fits what you're
Right,
describing, right? It's
right,
big, it's hairy, it's ugly, it's audacious, and this is what we're going to shoot for.
right.
And we don't know exactly how we're going to get it, but we're going to figure it out, right? So, and then, you go through the action steps of how you're going to get there. Grant Cardone talks about that in 10X, where he talks about you need to set goals that are outside of your current reach. It needs to be scary. It needs to be where you're going to have to work that much harder because you need to become a different person in order to reach that goal, right? And so, and what he says is you don't change it. So if
So
you
if it gets
say,
scary, you don't change it.
right, you can't just modify it and say, oh, okay, well, my goal was to have this boutique hotel, but yeah, now it's starting to get really hard and I don't know. And so now I'm not gonna try for a boutique hotel. I'm just gonna get a single family home instead. You can't modify it because it's getting difficult,
No.
right?
I think my
So,
way of modifying would honestly be like, so why not 3 hotels?
right, yeah, you
Because
go bigger.
that's that's kind of my jam. I'm
Yes.
I'm a go big or go home.
All right.
I am either all in or I'm just like, that's not for me. But
Yeah.
when something's for me, like that's kind of it. And so I also think that it's a matter of not trying to change yourself to fit what you think the goal should be. Like when I got into sub 2, it was, "Oh,
Mhm.
you should buy single family homes and you should do this. This is the way you do it."
Yeah.
And then I talked to a couple people, and people I just met, and they're like, that doesn't really seem your vibe. You're a little more like, you're more than that. Like, you're
Yeah.
not. And I thought, you know what? It's not for me. That does not make me
Mhm.
excited at all. I love that there's people that that's their portfolio.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Just like I have certain things that I'm very good at. I am very good at finding PMLs, and
Mhm.
I'm good at pitching them an idea and getting them to trust me,
Mhm.
because I'm prepared, I'm competent, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm confident in the deals I'm bringing them. I'm
Right.
confident that I have this secured, insured, protected, cross-collateralized. Let me tell you how to make returns. Let me help guide you through this, which is
Yeah.
why I'm good at what I do.
Right.
But I'm not going to change myself to be like, maybe you should buy short-term Airbnbs. I don't want to do that. Don't
Right.
call me when your toilet breaks. Like, I'm not that person. And there are people who love that. They love the hospitality aspect.
Mhm. Right.
And so you also have to realize, like, here's who I am, here's what I'm good at, here are my strengths, and here's what I have time and lifestyle for.
Yeah.
I mean, with 6 young kids and a husband who cannot drive or work, I
Mm.
am not going to drive there and unplug the toilet
Yeah.
or look at your air conditioner or find someone to do that on a Saturday. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'll team up with someone and I'm their PMP, or I bring them private
Right.
money, and then we're partners and they can do that
Yeah.
all day long. They can do that. They like it.
Yeah.
So here's my lane. I am gonna go 100 miles an hour and get done what I need to get done to accomplish my goals,
Yeah.
long term, short term, and the BHAG gross one. It's a terrible word. It's just a terrible name. I just don't like
I
it.
know. I know. I know. We have to come up with a better one. We can come up with a better one. We can think about it in Puerto Rico.
I also don't like the word hairy.
I know. I know.
I don't like things that are hairy.
Well, it could be, yeah,
We'll
big,
figure it out. We'll
big,
figure it out.
ugly, yeah, see if they did if it was big, ugly, audacious goal, then what it'd be like,
Oh,
bjog.
sounds like Russian agreement or something.
We have to come up with something better.
We'll figure that out. We
We
will.
can totally figure it out. It could be something that still has the same expectation,
Right.
right? It's
No,
gonna sound much nicer.
I'm gonna
Yes.
I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be that's a new short term goal. Um,
Yes.
my short term goal. That's my short.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How are you going to measure success in this? Like if we walk through goal setting, right? We have short term, midterm, long term. I love that. Another way to do that, you can set the long term goal and then have your goal posts, if you will,
Right.
of okay, here's what I expected at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days,
Mhm.
and I've been able to accomplish those things, kind of like what a project manager
Right.
does. So there's different ways to look at it, but also we have to be able to measure that and then say, okay, yes, this is what I was really going for and I accomplished that. Or maybe I thought that's what I was going for and I've gone totally this direction. What happened? So how
I'm
do
in
you
oncoming
gauge it?
traffic. What happened here? Um, I I am very organized
Yes.
and very disciplined. It's one of those things that I am good at.
Yeah.
So, and you can't measure anything. You can't, like you said, you cannot reach a goal if there's no measurable.
Yeah.
You have to have metrics
Yeah.
with anything.
Mhm.
So, metrics with my short-term goals were, how many people did you connect with? Did you get their blinks? Did you get on this? And have you gotten on Zoom calls? Yes,
Okay.
that has
Awesome.
all been done. And
Yeah.
then with the team members and partnerships I'm talking to, we have weekly meetings to where it's
Right.
like, I am expanding my PML pool.
Okay.
So by 2 to 3 a week. So I'm doing a
Mm.
lot of reach out. I'm doing a lot of education for my PMLs because
Okay.
I want them to be comfortable and I want them to
Yes.
be like, hey, let's revolve our money and let's refer other people. Like that's the goal at the end of the day.
Yes.
So while they're underwriting, figuring out infrastructure for buying and acquiring these multifamilies, I'm then being like, here's the kind of money I want to bring in. So I
Mm-hmm.
have soft confirmation of those numbers.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'm also putting out, I never want to ask for money when I need it.
Yes. Right.
My never do that. It doesn't work.
It
Um,
doesn't.
it might work, but you're going to pay more, right? That's expensive money.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is say, I have a project, possibly, in the next 6 months, I'm going to have a project like this and a project like this. What are
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts on things like this? If it's this term length, this rate of return, what are your thoughts? Because then if I have soft confirmations, then I can go to them and be like, hey, the hypothetical is pretty close. Now I
Yeah.
have hard confirmation. So I'm getting basic numbers for the two teams I'm working with.
Right.
That when that comes to fruition or when it's like, hey, we have a deal, it needs to close in 3 weeks. Great. I have that
Yeah.
much money plus ideally 25 to 50% more than what I need to raise just in case because things happen.
Right. Cushion. Gotta have cushion.
Always.
Somebody might
So,
back out, something might happen,
right,
right? That
right.
they just can't when they thought they could. So, yeah.
Well, I helped raise for one in Atlanta, and the day of closing, the borrower calls me up and she's like, so we're 65K short. And I believe one of their other PMLs couldn't get money from their self-directed. It was something like
Oh,
nothing to do with the project, just, oh, shoot.
yeah.
And if they had to push it another week, it was almost like $90,000 in fees because it's a
Oh,
big multifamily.
good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, you give me a few minutes. So I got her 40 from one lender that day. And I said, you got to, but I had been telling him, like, I have
Yes.
soft confirmation of what he liked. I can make
Right.
this work for you if you are down to do this today.
Yeah.
So he was good for 40. And I thought, she said 65. I should get her 90 because cushion, right?
Yeah.
So then I said, I have another 50. And the one thing I told my PMLs when I would say, here's the good, here's the not so good, let me tell you what I like, what I don't. The only thing
Hmm.
I didn't like was it was long term, 12 months or more.
Oh, yeah.
I am a short term girl right now.
Yeah.
So there's a song. It feels like there should be a song. The
Kind of like these
Uptown
boots are
Girl.
made for walking,
That
and
was
you can.
Uptown Girl by Billy Joel.
There, yes, there you
I'm a
go.
short-term girl.
Yep.
But I said, we're 3 hours from closing. And I know you're offering 12 months, but if you do 6, I'll give you that other 50 right now.
Ooh.
And then I negotiated a higher rate of return
Yes.
because we were 2 hours from closing.
Exactly.
So you can either pay me an extra 5%
Yeah.
or you can pay 90 to move it to next week.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so I'm constantly just thinking about how do I accelerate and how do I honestly just be the best at what I do. All
Yeah.
of my goals are geared to that. Because it's
Yes.
not about, at the end of the day, it's not about the properties. It's not about what does your portfolio look like. It's about how do I provide for my children in the way I want? What
Yeah.
kind of a legacy am I leaving them? And what am
Yes.
I teaching them about how to work hard, how to be smart, how to collaborate, how to build?
Yes.
Like that's the goal, right? I know
Right.
your son's in this with you.
Yes.
That's the
Exactly.
goal. You're building something, not just for you, for
Right.
him, and
Yep.
someday for his kids. Like, God willing, we want a legacy.
Right.
And at the end of the day, my legacy is not, I mean, it sounds great. Like she had $50 million in real estate. Okay, yes, let's do that too. But I want my legacy to be like, my mom started doing this at
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she moved us across the country and she showed us and taught us and was an example and
Yes.
helped us grow something and build something and give us these experiences. That's what I want.
Yes.
That's what I
Absolutely.
that's what I want anytime I do any deal. For me, for my borrowers, for my lenders, if we
Yep.
all work together, like the tide rises all the boats.
Exactly. That's what I really loved, from the SquadUp Summit. The everything said collaboration over competition.
100%.
Um, for me, and I've said this multiple times now to different people, but you get jaded when you're around the wrong people,
Mhm.
really, right? And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all about the competition, and people will try to say, well, there's healthy competition. And I understand what they're trying to get at, where it's like, look, okay, you're doing great. I want that too. Now that's going to motivate me to do the things I need to do because I want to do that as well, or I want to have that as well. And that's healthy. But how about we take it another level and say, hey, how did you do that?
Right.
And let's work together, and I'll figure out how I can help you with that, and you help me with this, and we can have even more. We can do even better. Like that takes it to the whole other next level, right?
There's a quote that I heard today, and it was on Ed Milet's podcast.
Oh,
And he said, if I know, right?
yes.
There's a goal. I need to meet Ed Milet. Um,
Yes. Yes.
putting that in
Me
my
too.
journal. Um,
Yes.
but he said, if you ever want to know the way down a road, you ask someone who's on their way back.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I
Absolutely.
just thought, yeah, why we don't, but, and I don't think like with the competition thing, I
Hmm.
don't think it needs to be competition.
No.
It can be just inspiration.
Yes,
I don't want to
exactly.
compete with you because guess what? I'm never going to win.
Yeah.
I'm never going to win the competition because my competition that I choose is always 3 to 5 years ahead of me, millions ahead of me. I'm never going to win.
Yeah.
My competition is with myself.
Right.
Am I better today? Am I growing today? Am I progressing in ways that I want?
Right.
Only person it's fair to compare yourself against.
Right.
Comparison will steal your joy. There is
Hmm.
no happiness in competition and
Right.
comparison. But
Right.
if you look at yourself 6 months ago and you're like, "Holy cow, my
That
life
I
is
think, yes.
completely different."
Right. That is
That's
that
the
is
one
the
I'm
big.
gonna win.
Right, right,
Win.
right. That's the biggest thing. I think, so there's two ways to look at this, right? Because I can think about what I want, where
Mhm.
I want to be, and I'm not there yet. And I can get down on myself and I can follow that rabbit hole and not get anywhere except for further down because I'm not where I want to be. But then at the same time, look at yourself a year from now, last year, right? So last year, when I look at myself, oh, wow, look at all the things that I've accomplished. Look at the
Right.
person that I have become, right? So no, I'm not where I want to be. When you said, look at when I started in my life, right? I think about that and I tell my son, you are 15 years old when I first started talking to him about this and sharing what I was learning, and it's just like, oh my gosh, if somebody had told me about this when I was
Oh,
your age, holy moly,
the
right?
trajectory of your life would be completely different.
It would be so. Every person I have ever spoken to has said the exact same thing. If I had known then
Mhm.
what I know now. And so, and you could kick yourself like, why? But at the same time, people don't share this. The people that have known about all of this wasn't sharing this with everybody.
Right.
right? And so it's only been over the last 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years, maybe, that you've got Pace, Jamil, different ones that are sharing this information. And so, okay, so I didn't know about it in my 20s. I didn't know about it in my 30s. uh, I could imagine all the things that I could have right now, all the places I could have been and done and seen and all of that, right? I could be really upset about it, or I could get over that and just say, okay, I know now. I'm taking actions now. I look at what I've already achieved in the last year. And as long as I'm taking the action steps towards reaching my goals, I'm going to be that much further ahead 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like it's all or nothing. You can actually start later in life and still accomplish so much. I think Grant Cardone said he started when he was 50 something.
Yeah.
And he's
I think we're fine then.
exactly,
I feel like
exactly.
he's done okay. And
I
so
think he's done okay. Yes.
he's
Yeah.
done okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also it is easy to get down on yourself and say, I should have known or I should have explored this. The fact is that I feel like God put you in a place to be
Yes.
ready for it when you were ready for it.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
he would have brought that into my life 5, 10 years ago, I would have been like, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I don't have time for it. My husband owns a pharmacy. He's there 60 hours a week. I already own a business. I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And I had to go through the trials. I had to
Right.
go through the situations that made me grow to get me to a place where I could be strong enough to do this because it is not for the weak.
That's right.
Being an entrepreneur, starting something new, having
Mhm.
that responsibility without the cushion of, hey, but you still have 80,000 a year, you still have 100,000 a year at your W2.
Yeah.
That was gone
Yeah.
overnight for us.
Yeah.
So I was not that person. I wouldn't have been ready. And if you would have hit me in my 20s, I would have been, you won't believe this. So I wouldn't say introverted, just
Mhm.
such low self esteem.
Oh.
Do not put me in front of people. That
Mm.
would have, now I'm like, let me get on a podcast. Let me speak on a stage. I'm hosting the Tampa meetup this week.
Uh-huh.
That would have been my 22-year-old self's personal hell
Mm. Yeah.
because I just wasn't at that place. So it wouldn't have been good for me to do that
Right.
20 years ago.
Right.
It's right for me now. And all I have to do is be consistent, work hard, do my best,
Yeah.
and show up
Right.
and show up for others.
Yeah. Right. So you're very organized. You've got your structures in place
Right?
for the people that are still struggling with figuring that part out. What advice would you give to them?
Ooh, I would say break it down into daily tasks or weekly tasks.
Mm, okay.
Because if you say, well, I want to buy a multifamily with my team.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your tasks every week?
Yeah.
The team that I'm on, one of them is like tweaking and writing a CRM. One of them
Mm,
is calling and talking to brokers and talking to agents about properties. What am I doing? I'm then taking their numbers, I'm expanding my network, I'm creating things so that when that's ready, I have all these daily steps.
right.
And then at the end of the week, we get together. So we have our daily steps, we have our weekly steps. We get together at the end of the week and say, here's what I did this week. Where are you at?
Okay.
And I would
Yes.
say for those people who aren't organized, accountability is huge.
Yes.
So I know that I'm going to do my daily steps because I'm just that person. I know. Don't tease me. It's cute. Everyone loves an organized person.
Yes.
That's not true.
Yes.
Some people it's the same.
Organized people love other organized people.
But disorganized people
Ooh,
they don't love the way we do it sometimes, but they love when things are organized.
yes.
My husband's not, but you know what? He may laugh at me for lining up things in my pantry, but when I can say third shelf on the right, fourth row over, he is
Yes.
very grateful that I
Yes.
tell him exactly where that spaghetti sauce is.
Exactly.
So he may
Yes.
not like my methods. He
Right.
loves the result.
Yes.
So get accountability.
Mm,
And people who, because there's accountability partners who are your friends,
mm.
and it'll just be like, "You're doing so great, Stephanie. You're so awesome. I love this for you," which is great. Have friends who tell you you're amazing.
Yeah.
But they also need to be like, "Wait, I thought you were, making 5 calls a day. I thought you were sending out 10 emails to prospective PMLs. I thought you were posting on Instagram. I thought you were
Yeah.
doing this."
Yeah.
Because I'm all for accolades and congratulations when they're due, but
Yeah.
don't tell me I'm doing amazing things when I've dropped the ball, because I'm
Yeah.
never gonna get better.
Right. Right.
Like, hold
Very
me
true.
accountable, make me feel a little silly and a tad stupid, and then I'm just gonna go harder and accomplish it double the next week.
Right.
It's actually
Right.
great for me. Please hold me accountable. Make me feel better.
Yes.
Just
Okay, so daily tasks, weekly tasks,
yep,
accountability, yes. And then systems. I think systems are important as well. Maybe some people are not so good, technically savvy, right? But at the minimum, people have talked about use Google spreadsheets or, use your calendar, set
yes,
up reminders,
I
right? What other
do
things would you do or
I
suggest?
use, Brendan Burchard, who
Mm,
started Growth Day, which is awesome and high performance. I grew up in that world. My dad's a high performance personal development guy.
okay.
Um, he worked for Stephen Covey and taught the 7 habits to Fortune 100
Mm,
companies. So this is just something that's kind of always been part of my life.
yes.
But Brendan Burchard has a high performance planner. And what I love about it is it has tasks in the morning where it's like,
Mm,
what's 3 things you need to get done today?
okay.
So my daily task, one of them is always one of those pieces.
Okay.
And
Nice.
so where it's like, okay, I need to email 10 people. Like I sent out a text thread to a bunch of people about 3 weeks ago and said,
Yeah.
"Can I add you to my email list so I can send you possible deals?" I had
Hmm.
over 75 say yes
Nice.
out of 80, which is great. It's a
Yes.
great, great, great. But then I have to input all of those into MailChimp and get it all set up. And that's not the part I like.
Oh, that's so
It's,
true.
it's the
Yeah.
part where I'm like, I'm gonna make my 15-year-old do it.
There you go.
I'm like, hey,
Yes.
I could pay a VA $4 to $5 an hour, or I could pay you $4 to $5 an hour.
Right. Claim the
So
expense.
yes,
Yep.
he's
Hmm.
my employee now. Um,
Yep.
but I do things like that because it's the hard things, right? Because
Right.
no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how motivated you are, there are things you do not like doing.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
that's like what I consider grunt work, where it's just
Mhm.
some people love it. They
Yeah.
love putting the systems in. It is their jam.
Yeah.
My husband's one of those guys. Show him a pie chart, a spreadsheet, Excel. He is happy as a clam. I'm not that person.
Know your strengths.
I'm the
Yes.
person who says, "This is for you. You.
Look what I brought you.
For you. You're so welcome to
Just
that
what you wanted.
spreadsheet. I love you." That's who I am.
Yeah.
But there are things where it's like, I have to do that. So I also, like, do the hard things first. Get them out of the
Ooh.
way. Who is it who says, like, eat the frog, which is also gross if you think about it.
Ooh.
Don't eat the frog, that's gross.
No.
But do the hard things.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things I do struggle with. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm setting up a new landing page. I'm setting up a page where my PMLs can go and figure out the process and how that works.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, make it cute, easy to navigate, and find a good picture of me. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that. But I want these colors. I want the picture to be good. And I want it to be cute. And I want it to work. That's like,
Right.
I have very low expectation. I don't,
Yes.
but I have to do those things because it's my company, because I'm the
Right.
person who has to do those things.
Yeah.
I do hire out the technical part,
Mhm.
but I do have to be the person who says, here's what I need. Here's what I have to see happen. Here's how it has to function.
Right. Right.
So those are
Mhm.
always at the top of my list.
Yeah.
And also, the last thing I would say about goals, celebrate your wins.
Oh, big time. Yes.
Because we don't do that. I am
No.
horrible at that.
Yeah.
I am the person who, even on, if it's Mother's Day, if it's my birthday, if I close the deal, I'm like, well, I'll think about doing it like next month or next time, or I'll go out to dinner next week.
No.
And because I'm not good at it. So
Yeah.
I have set hard rules where it's like, when I fund a deal, every time that closes and I get paid, I am doing a spa day.
Yes.
And I will spend a minimum of $250.
There you
I'm
go.
not gonna feel bad,
Right.
and I'm not gonna feel guilty
Right.
because I worked hard for this, and I need to celebrate that. Like,
Yes.
I did this.
Right.
Karianne 6 months ago would be awestruck.
Yeah.
Karianne a year ago would say, "You're out of your freaking mind. There's no
Mhm.
way you're gonna be able to do that."
Yeah.
So
Right.
celebrate.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that goes back to, if you're measuring it, right? You have the metrics in place and you know what success is supposed to mean, then
Mhm.
you know when you can celebrate and you need to do that. It's not, I think some people will think about, oh, I have to set KPIs. I need to set these metrics and determine how I'm going to measure it so I can kick myself in the rear because I didn't do it, right? I have to hold myself accountable to that. It's not just for the negative side of it though,
Right.
right? It's for the positive as well. It is to recognize when you have accomplished something and then celebrate that. And the fact that you've already set what your celebration is going to be is awesome, right? Because now you're visualizing, this is what I get at the end of this process. When
Right.
I accomplish this thing, I can visualize that I'm going to have this awesome spa day where I get a massage, I'm going to get my nails done, and I'm going to get a facial. And you start like visualizing that, and you're putting that out in the world, right?
Yeah.
You're putting that energy out there. You're putting those vibes, whatever you want to describe it, you're putting that out there. And when you keep focusing on that, that helps you get through, well, I'm really doing this thing that I hate, but I know what I'm going to get at the end.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and do it now.
Right. Well, and
Yes.
to just, I mean, you don't want to go crazy. I know,
Yeah.
I know people are, they closed a deal and they're like, I went to Mexico for a week. So you
Mm,
just built up all this inertia
yeah.
and you just stopped. Like, you just accomplished this really great goal
Yeah.
and you took off a week. Like, that's
Yeah.
when I'm like, double down. Like, you
Yeah.
just did this. Now I'm not stopping at that point.
Yeah.
I'm on a
Continue.
roll.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, you got to know when
No,
to hold them.
yeah. Well, and I think that goes back to, people will buy the car of their dreams in the first deal or whatever. I think there has to be a happy medium,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
So, everything in moderation. Like I think a spa day is perfect because it's not something that you do every day, but
No,
it's not something that is going to take you away from what you've been working on.
right. No, it's
Uh,
like, I
yeah,
mean, $250 at a
yeah,
spot does not go far,
yeah,
but it's a good 3 hours.
right. Exactly.
And and we deserve it. And
Yes.
it's probably going to happen once a month to once every 6 weeks.
Right.
Now, I mean, is it going to get to the point where it could be every week? Maybe.
Hopefully.
But I mean, would I be closing a deal every week? Yeah, I can
Yeah.
be doing that. But at
Yeah.
that point, I'll be like, okay, at the end of every month,
Yes.
I'm going on a weekend.
Right.
So then
Yes,
you can change it to
exactly.
make it proportional.
Exactly. Right.
Like, I'm doing a private money lending deal. It's making me a lot of money
Mhm.
because I negotiated great returns for me and for other lenders.
Yeah.
When I get that back, oh, I'm doing something good. Real. I made $15,000 in late fees, and it was only late fees for like 2.5 weeks. It was a
Wow.
big chunk of money that I lent though. So
Yeah.
fine. But I didn't expect that extra $15,000.
Yeah.
What did I do? I bought a car.
Woo!
But keep in mind, I'm driving a 12-passenger van
Yeah.
for my family of 8. So you can't be rolling up as the money lady who's like, "Hey, I just raised this hundreds of thousands of dollars for this. Look at me in my big van." You can't do that.
The mama van.
Right. Big van, Karianne. Mm-mm. Um,
I
right. Now,
love
I did not give myself that nickname.
it.
That was one of my neighbors. Couldn't remember the names of all the women in the neighborhood. And he's like, "You're 4'11, you're this teeny lady driving this huge van, big van
Yes.
Karianne."
There you go.
So I bought myself a used car. It's slightly sexier than the big van. But like that's extra money.
Right.
And
Yeah.
for 6 months, I just kept rolling in that
Yeah.
into the next deal. And my husband's like, "Will you just
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
buy yourself a car? You deserve a car. You
Right.
need a car."
Yeah.
I found one that I liked. I found one that I actually negotiated like $4,000 off the price because I just waited till the right moment. It was
Nice.
amazing. It was mwah. It was a chef's deal.
Ah!
Um, and the guy I bought it from is selling his house and doesn't want to pay taxes for selling his house. So does he know any way he can invest that? Do I know any ways? Yes,
Ooh.
Rob, I do. Is he my
Ooh.
new private money lender? Yes. Guess who else
Wow.
it is? The guy who drove the Uber to take me to meet me to buy my car. I've
Wow.
already got calls set up with them.
That is awesome.
I got a
Oh
car
my
and I got 2 new
gosh.
PMLs.
Amazing. Okay, so like we could do a whole other podcast on just how you start those conversations. I am sure people would love to know.
It is actually usually pretty ridiculous. Because I don't mean to do it.
Oh yeah.
But when you're excited about what you do,
Yes, that's huge.
like I'm not the person who's strategic about those.
Yeah.
But no, if you we can do another podcast because they're usually funny and people who know me well are they're like, I was somewhere with my sister. She came to visit. We're in a hot
Mhm.
tub and she goes, "I'll give you $10 because there's this guy over there. He's very cute. My sister's very single."
Uh-huh.
He's like, "Start up a conversation with him." I'm like, "Okay, about what?" And she's like, "Just tell him what you do and then introduce me."
Oh, did
Yes,
you remember to introduce her? Or did you just keep
I
going?
did. She was right next to me.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I remembered to introduce her. It went very well. He was very nice and single. But
Ooh.
I scheduled a call with him. He's not in a deal yet, but she's like,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm not scared. Like I said, a lot of things don't scare me.
I love
And
it.
I've never met anyone yet who I said, "Can I help you make money on your money and I can secure it and protect it and give you collateral. And if everything goes to crap, you still have a real asset.
Yeah.
We make you money. And they're like, ew, no, never happened.
That's a great way to sell it for sure. Yeah. Because you've just hit all of the points, right?
Sure.
People are usually afraid to lose their money. They think of it as the stock market, right?
Right.
Where it's a gamble. And real estate is not the stock market.
Right.
It's
Well,
just
at the end
not.
of the day, you lose it at the stock market. That's it.
Exactly.
At
Right.
least with real estate, if it all goes to garbage, which is, all the things I mitigate the risk for, but if it
Yeah.
does, heaven forbid, how now have equity or a property
Right.
that you can either sell or rent or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
There's no other investment strategy in the world that's going to put those things into place to protect you
Yeah.
and give you, like, usually it's, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You can play this game and there's risk,
Yeah.
but you still win at the end, even if you lose.
Yeah.
If it's
Right.
structured well and it's underwritten well and everything's done well,
Yeah.
it's a win-win for everyone.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we could talk all day.
I know. We're just keep going. It's an all-night podcast.
Ooh, that's a new idea. We could totally,
Overnighter. We wear
yeah.
pajamas and pigtails.
It has to be, I was going to say HR appropriate, but there is no HR department.
We're HR. I'm HR in my
We're HR. We have to be kid friendly because you never know who's going to be watching there.
I mean, if they're watching about real estate at like 2 a.m., I'm just saying that's not my problem. That's a parenting issue.
Kids should be in bed. Seriously, come on.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Watching YouTube real estate videos again.
Be like, I am proud of my kids. They got
Right?
their stuff together.
What are you watching? Real estate videos. I'm going to learn how to be a private money lender and make double-digit returns on my money.
I love it.
Oh,
I love
Heavenly
it.
Father, please help my kids to do
I
that.
know. I
Wham.
know.
If only.
If only. If
The goal.
only.
It's the
Well,
goal.
how do people get a hold of you? Because you've dropped so many golden nuggets here,
Oh, you're so
right?
sweet.
You're a PML.
I'm a PML.
So everybody who's looking to make those returns, right, in a
Yes.
safe place,
Yes.
Karianne's the lady to speak to. So how do they get a hold of you?
I've done it on both sides. And so
See?
Instagram, Karianne Klomp, just
Okay.
like it sounds.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook. I'm getting my website set up. So
Okay.
it's under construction. Because once again, I'm not that lady, but it will be cute.
It will be. Of course it will.
Priorities. Yeah. Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. We're going to circle back in 30 days because it's already been 30 days and you've already made progress. We're going to circle back in 30 days, see how everything's going, what your next steps are.
Love
and maybe you'll drop some more golden nuggets.
I'm going to be so prepared.
Yeah, of course.
And organized.
Yes.
That's who we are.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Take care.